Hello everyone, welcome back. As you may have anticipated, today's video is dedicated to reviewing the highly anticipated new release from Roja Parfums, which is Elysium Eau Intense. Lately, there has been a great deal of excitement surrounding this fragrance, and I couldn't resist joining in on the hype. I wanted to discover for myself what all the buzz is about and compare this to Elysium Parfums Cologne. Elysium Parfums Cologne is one of my favorite signature scents of all time alongside Creed Aventus, offering a perfect balance of freshness, elegance, and luxury. With such a high regard for Parfums Cologne, my expectations for this new release are equally high, hoping it brings something unique and avoids any sense of redundancy. When it comes to a new Roja release, there's always a lot of buzz surrounding it. However, I prefer to focus solely on the fragrance itself, regardless of the brand. So I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of comments where they're going to be like, all these YouTubers, they got these fragrances, so they're going to be talking good about it. And again, I want to mention that I do not care that this has been sent to me. I have no fear to come out and say that if I feel that this fragrance is redundant, I will definitely say so. If I don't like it, I will also come out and say so as well. So let's unbox this and see what we get. All right, I like the box already because it's all white. So the presentation is very clean. It's very approachable. Feels almost designerish, and I like that. It's all white with that silver and blue sign of Elysium right here, which I will show it later on, but I love the box already. It's very nice, white. Elysium Eau Intense. Look at this bottle. Looks so cool. That frozen look. I love that. Very cool looking. All right, so smelling this, just the opening smells different. Yeah, there's definitely something in there that's different than the Parfums Cologne version. It's very sharp. It's very zesty, very aromatic. It's very fresh, extremely fresh, very powerful opening. It's kind of sour and acidic, but God, it's very sharp. That freshness is so sharp, and it's kind of baffling me what it is that's causing that sharpness in the opening. But thank God that it's not redundant. It's definitely different. At least the opening, it doesn't smell like the Parfums Cologne version. It smells different so far, the opening, which is a good thing. All right, so right off the bat, this feels definitely fresher and more aromatic than the Parfums Cologne version. It has a slightly sweet, citric, sour opening, as I mentioned. The opening feels sharp, kind of tart, crisp, and slightly sour. It has this tangy, fruity-like smell, kind of like grapefruit or green apples with a hint of sharpness to it. Again, that sharpness is kind of baffling me because it kind of reminds me of musk, white musk, and usually white musk is used in the base note. So either they used a big dose of it in here that you can smell it on the opening right away, or they did something very unusual and they put the musk in the top note to kind of push all those fresh top notes kind of forward, which they feel kind of like punching your face kind of a thing, because those top notes, those fresh notes, they're so powerful. And that what makes this very unusual for the structure that usually I smell when it comes to musk, the use of musk. And again, so far it smells different. It's not redundant, but you can definitely, as it's opening up now more, I can definitely pick up that DNA of Elysium in here, which again, I love that. I mean, I definitely was expecting this to have that DNA in here, but the good thing is that it is different enough for me at least to not feel redundant, which is a good thing. Yeah, it has this zesty and invigorating and juicy quality to it, which must be, I believe, it must be probably rhubarb or grapefruit. And the reason why I say that, because rhubarb and grapefruit, because I know that the Parfum Cologne version definitely has grapefruit in it, but because it's more acidic and sour, I feel like they probably added rhubarb to amplify the grapefruit in here, because rhubarb and grapefruit, they have the same characteristics in perfumery. And if they use the rhubarb, they're mingling really nicely with each other here in the opening. And that musk is definitely amplifying that and kind of pushing it forward, which makes it fantastic. I love it. So as I mentioned, the opening is very aromatic. It's tart, it's crisp, it's sharp, it's vibrant, it's bright, fresh, spicy, and it also has this green note to it. The greenness definitely is opening up more, and I can smell this green facet in there. And also interesting, there's this almost like aldehyde kind of a pigments in here as well, which is also something that Parfum Cologne version didn't have that, and slightly sweet and sour at the same time. Now, there definitely has to be some lavender, like the original version, thyme, and artemisia at play, which they've been amped up to create that green note that I'm talking about, because I'm getting this strong, rich green, herbaceous, bitterish, herbal, and strong smelling plant-like smell, almost like wormwood, which has to be coming from artemisia, thyme, and lavender. Now, as the fragrance is opening up more, I'm getting these mixed floral notes, which they give this almost white floral kind of a facet to the fragrance. So I'm assuming there has to be some, usually that's what Roja uses, there has to be some jasmine, tuberose, or orange blossom, rose, or lily of the valley. And the reason why I'm saying lily of the valley at play, because I get that aldehyde soapy kind of a smell a little bit in here, kind of like a pigment of it, which I think there's a good dose of lily of the valley going on in here. So as you can see, the opening and the heart of this fragrance is definitely different than the Elysium Parfum Cologne version. Okay, so to me, I feel like Parfum Cologne version, it's more citrusy, it's woodier, and it definitely has more leather. The leather is way more prominent in the Parfum Cologne version than this one, which I have to say I prefer the leather note in there more than I do in here. So that definitely shows that these fragrances are different, and this is definitely, and I believe that's what they tried to do, but I don't get from the name of it because it says Eau Intense. And I would say that this feels more like an Eau Fraiche to me. I mean, again, it is intense in a way that's very powerful. It's very sharp, the musk and all that stuff. But the Parfum Cologne version, again, as I said, it feels woodier. It feels, the amber body's bigger. And it's kind of warmer than this for sure. And the leather definitely is more prominent in there than this new version. And right now, I'm actually going to take a break, give it about 20 minutes, 30 minutes or so to see how the dry down of this one is, and I will get back to you guys. All right, so I took a half an hour break just to give it enough time for the fragrance to kind of start to dry down. So I give the right first impression. And I'm glad that I did so because there are things that they started revealing themselves that I knew I wouldn't be able to smell them right away. All right, so this is the deal. Elysium Eau Intense presents a notable departure from Parfum Cologne, making it a worthwhile addition to one's collection without redundancy. While it shares some similarities, it exudes a distinct freshness, sourness, brightness, airiness, coolness like ice, like kind of like iced out, like this bottle, how it looks like it's iced out. It definitely has that icy kind of a dry down, kind of very cold, icy, perfect for summer. Now, two notes particularly stand out for me is the rhubarb, which might be subjective for some, but ultimately settles down. And the leather, which I was worried about, that's not going to come in, starts coming in, which adds a pleasing masculine touch to the fragrance. As I mentioned, the opening carries a sharpness with a subtle aldehyde accord and a fruity undertone. The rhubarb is noticeable but harmonized by the grapefruit, resulting in a bright, fresh, airy, woody, and musky composition with a touch of oceanic saltiness, which must be ambergris at play. So as it dries down, the initial brightness mellows, giving way to more woody character with less sweetness, as expected. Personally, I'm particularly fond of the leather note in the base, which you don't get it as much as you do in the original Parfum Cologne version. But you definitely get that, but not as much. But what's so interesting that you get in the dry down here is that ice, kind of a cool note in a dry down, kind of like a cold air kind of a note in the dry down, which is so interesting. Just like the bottle, kind of like it's iced out, it definitely has that effect on the dry down, which the original one doesn't really have that. And I'm again very glad that it doesn't become overly sweet once it settles and the woody notes kind of come out, but again, not as much as the original one. In terms of performance, it is certainly noticeable initially, and longevity seems decent so far, but I definitely have to get back to you guys on that one. Although it is losing some strength as we speak, but I don't know how it's going to perform on the skin, how long it's going to last. I haven't tried it on my skin, so I will definitely make another video and go over that. But I think as far as like the performance goes, it should fall somewhere between the Parfum Cologne version and the Parfum version, the original Elysium one, which is the highly concentrated one, which is the strongest one. As far as like lasting power on the skin, not projection, I think the Parfum Cologne version, that one projects the most. But this one, I don't know yet. Initially, when I sprayed it, I have to say it was very powerful. It did stand up to its name as being intense. It did project crazy. It filled up the whole entire room when I sprayed it initially. But as we speak, it's losing some strength, and I definitely have to give it a try on skin and see how it does on my skin. All right, so I have to say that I did like this fragrance and it has pleasantly surprised me. Don't let the prominence of the rhubarb deter you. It becomes less pronounced over time. While I don't consider it superior to the original, it is a delightful addition to the lineup and an excellent choice for warmer weather. It is Elysium with a unique twist. The presentation is also quite impressive. All right, you guys, so that was my first impression of Elysium Eau Intense. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye.